a young widow, you know, there are good days and there are definitely bad days. Hey, I need y'all to know I'm not going to make it through March. My heart was hurting. And I kept feeling like any day, I'm going to drop. Life didn't allow me to do that. And life keeps moving. And you notice that you get angry, depressed. You know, I didn't even get to experience the waves of grief one at a time.
Lady Tiunna Lemons is an influencer, entrepreneur, and women empowerment advocate. A Decatur, Georgia native and Morris Brown College graduate. For over 27 years, she stood beside her late husband, gospel artist Kevin Lemons, as a leader in their choir Higher Calling. After his passing in 2023, Tiana stepped into the role of head director, continuing his legacy with passion and power. Small in stature but mighty in presence, Lady Tiana is a trailblazer in the world of choir directing and a champion for women in leadership. Now please welcome Tiana Lemons.
Welcome to The Widow's Seat, a podcast devoted to the journey of loss where faith and healing meet. I'm your host, Vanessa Hall. Today we're discussing holding on to faith when life falls apart with our special guest, beautiful Tiana Lemons.
Tiana.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Listen, I'm so excited to have you. You really made my day. Literally, I feel like you're my daughter. Really, I do. And I'm so honored again to have you on the podcast today. And I feel like your story is going to help so many widows today. So right now, I just want you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
I am Tiana Lemons, the wife of Kevin Lemons. And so a little bit about our journey. We were married 15 years. We have been friends for 27 years total. And so, God just allowed us to birth music, ministry. I kind of took a back seat and just pushed as a wife.
Yeah.
I had a lot of things as far as like mentoring and things going on, but I chose to kind of just follow him and follow his path and push him, in that regard. And it's kind of like the assignment that I guess God had for me in that moment. I've had he started a ministry, Higher Calling, in 1996. We were 17.
Wow.
So I joined in the very beginning and we were stuck together ever since.
Wow.
And so kind of journeying through that, we got to travel a lot, travel the world. I got to see a lot of things, got to hear a lot of things, and, implement a lot of things concerning choir music. And, I just enjoyed the journey. But God had different plans. For me, I thought, we were going to be married forever. But, God gave me 15 years, and I'm grateful for those 15.
That's beautiful.
And that's just a little bit about, us coming together.
What was some of your fondest memories of your husband? I know you say you started at 17. Did y'all start dating at 17? But when you look back, what is some of the fondest memories that you had with your husband?
Here's the thing. We never dated.
You never dated?
We never dated.
Okay.
And so we were the best of friends, kind of fell in each other's lap. And he had this thing where if I want to be with you, you'll know. That was 10 years later.
No.
When we got engaged. That was like the official, like everything from that point. My fondest memories of Kevin, people really didn't get to see the funny side of Kevin. Kevin was a character.
Okay.
He loved, more than directing, he was a drummer first. So I loved getting to see him play drums. Like that was his passion. That's what he did. I loved to see how he was with his family, especially his mom. My fondest memories of him is the way he cared for his mom and his dad, and both of them transitioned as well. But, how he cared for the kids, our God kids. They always had this alliance where everybody thought he was up here and then I didn't matter when he was in the room. I loved his laugh. His laugh is infectious when it really, when he really just laughed. So those are some of the things, that I miss. And of course, spoiling me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm rotten.
Right,
So
right.
of course I miss that, you know. So those are like some of the things that I miss. And then just seeing him with people and do music and direct, like those memories, they're etched for a lifetime. So
You know, we talked just recently, and you told me one of the things that you did not like to do was shop for yourself. And your husband did all of your shopping. He bought all of your clothes. And at first, I said, well, you know, that was kind of odd that he would want to do that. Now, my husband would go to the mall and wait on me to shop, but your husband actually shopped for you. And so I know you miss that more about him. So even in that, how do you feel now about just even the little things after your husband have gone home to be with the Lord? And before we say that, but I wanted to say this too, ask this. You are freshly a widow, right? We can tell our listeners how long has it been since your husband went home to be with the Lord, and yeah, we can talk about that first.
well,
I
it's
got so
been,
many thoughts going through my head. I promise you, it's like questions, but yeah. So
so it's been as of January 7th, 2 years. Actually walking, I told him it feels like three, like just walking into year three because it was the top of the year.
Yeah.
I never saw myself being a widow at 44. That's the first thing. It took me a long time to even say the word widow. I think I just started saying it maybe a couple months ago.
wow.
And because I just never saw that. And so it's been 2 years, and even going to shopping for I
Yeah.
hate malls.
I cannot believe it.
I like to look at things, they're pretty.
Yeah.
But I hated it. And here's the thing. He had a certain thing he wanted to see. So if you want to see it, man of God, go for it. Buy it, all that, you know, but he loved to provide and spoil in that capacity. And so I didn't want to take that away. You know, I'm not going to take that away,
Right.
you know, from you. Now, if it's something that I wanted and I saw it, then I don't have to go get it. You can go get it. Perfectly fine. And so I wanted to be the girl that just like to run up and down the mall. And he said, hey, go do. And I would get so antsy around people.
Yeah.
I don't want to say claustrophobic. I just get nervous around a lot of people. I think something's going to happen, think something's going to pop off. And I'm like, nope, I'm not even going to know how to handle this. So yeah, go ahead, go do it for me. But that I definitely miss. Adulting sucks. I'm going to say that. It is hard. And so I've learned in this season, actually, I've had to learn to be an adult. This is the first time I've been on my own in my life.
Wow. Wow.
So I've been glued to either my parents or either to him since coming into adulthood. I've never had anything to say it was solely Tiana's.
Wow.
It's always been a pair. Anytime you saw us, we were always together. I was never by myself. So I never went to the movies by myself, never sat down to eat by myself. He wouldn't allow me. And so the biggest thing for me now is just learning how to adult on my own as a single entity, which I never wanted to say, but it has definitely been a journey. And I'm discovering who Tiana is by herself.
Right.
So
How do you feel now navigating through this by yourself, and you feel like you by yourself? So how do you express that to someone that's out there listening to you for the first time in 44 years or
46 now.
46 now, that you are by yourself?
Being by myself, there are different paths of being by yourself. I've had to learn who Tiana is, what Tiana likes, decisions I have to make for myself that I don't have a buffer to kind of throw off of how do you feel about this? Like Tiana has to make that decision. Even as far as how to move, you know, through life, even paying bills by your,
Yeah.
you're not responsible for two people anymore. You're responsible just for you. And there are good days. Now, what I've learned is I love me.
Yeah.
I really can say that.
Yeah.
I love me. I love who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
And I've given myself and learned to give myself grace to kind of journey and to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things about Tiana that I realize I don't like. And you ask, how long has that been going on?
Yeah.
You know, things that you start to see. But to help someone that is on this journey, especially being a young widow, you know, there are good days and there are definitely bad days. There are days where I'm like, okay, you did that today. I like who she is. And then there are days where you're like, I don't want to be this person.
Right.
And so it definitely is a balance that you will forever have to, you know, walk out. And then this journey in this facet is about pleasing me. I'm not responsible for how anybody else feels, but how Tiana feels. And that's hard, especially when you're tied to someone like a Kevin Lemons.
Absolutely.
Who's in the industry and everyone has all of these expectations of who you should be
Yeah.
as a wife.
Yeah.
And I know you've been there, even as a first lady, who you should be, you know, and now it's like showing the world, no, this is who I am, and y'all have to be okay with that.
Right. You were saying who Kevin Lemons was, and of course we know he's big. He was big. And so how did people treat you when he passed away? Because my testimony is a little different, of course, but both of our husbands were big, and in some sense I can identify. We talked about some things, but how did people treat you when he passed away? Because he was so big. Did they treat you bad or indifferent? Of course, indifferent, but how? And to our listening audience, to help them to realize, even when their husbands are real big, that when they pass away, there are people that will treat you real bad or say negative things. Like I've heard that my church would have closed by now. She's not the preacher that he was, and I will never be. I could never walk in his size 11 or 11 and a half shoes when his feet wasn't swollen. On a good day, I could not be him. I can't close like him. So I start asking myself, am I, up for this? So how do you feel, and how did people make you feel even in your loss?
So first I'm going to say, let's go back to the very beginning.
Okay.
Thank you for opening this door.
Okay.
You weren't going to make me cry early because I do look at you as mom.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you asked that question because I've hidden behind that question for 2 years. So since you've put this question out here,
Yes.
there's a freedom for me to answer
I want
this
you
question.
to. I want you
And when Kevin first transitioned, the expectation is you would expect, since we walked as a joint entity and so close together, you would expect everyone to rally behind and everyone to be there. However, it wasn't the case. You have people that you expected to be there that were not there.
Yeah.
You have people, you have people coming and they're like, I want to be there for you, but I know you have everybody. You got so many people around you. No, so many people weren't around me. I stayed in my house most of the time. Now, there were set people that were there, but I could count on my hand
Yeah.
how many people were,
Yeah.
even to this day. The biggest thing for me, now, as far as the public and the world, I realized at that point that I was loved by people that I didn't even know. And so while I was depending on the people that I did know, it was the people that I didn't know, had never touched physically, never seen, never talked to on the
Yeah.
phone, that were encouraging me at the same time. And even with that, the biggest hurdle with someone to Kevin's statue is the sense of entitlement that people felt. The hardest thing that I had said to me, I've had a lot of hurtful things said to me.
Like what?
Like one of the biggest things was said to me last year, matter of fact, was, well, since Kevin's gone, or since he was dead, we considered you dead too. We only dealt with you because of our attachment to him. So since he's not here, you don't really hold any value in that regard to us. And I was like, whoa. And I said, well, I'm sorry you had to carry that for 20 years.
Wow.
You know, I'm not a mean person. I'm very nice.
Yeah.
I'm very nurturing. I've learned,
Yeah.
even when I don't think I'm being nurturing. Even as it relates to transitioning into the leader seat of higher calling, that is something that I did not choose to do.
Sure.
When Kevin transitioned, I was ready to shut everything down. I looked at our assistant director and I said, hey, if you want to do this, it's yours. I will stand in my spot and I will sing.
Yeah.
And he said, let's come back to the table and visit this later.
Okay.
And I said, okay. We got in rehearsal one day, and my goal was to pull everyone together because we had 100 members. So I knew if I felt displaced, I could only imagine how they felt. And
Sure.
and the thing is, even you as a first lady, when Bishop
Yeah.
transitioned, they're not thinking about you. They're like, what are you going to do to pull us in? And so you pull everybody together and you're trying to make sure they're okay. And then in that, we got to singing.
Yeah.
And then I started, just flowing and directing. And my assistant director, Mark looked at me and said, okay, I'm going to be your supporting actor. You got this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not what I intended to do. And so even with stepping into that seat, there were people that left. They left because they said, I could never be him. I could never fill those shoes. You won't be respected because you're a woman.
How did that make you feel, though?
Low. I questioned a lot. Not to mention, it took me back to a place of trauma because at 16, I knew I was called into ministry. And my youth pastor at the time told me, don't pursue it because you'll never be respected in the Baptist church as a woman.
Wow.
From a preacher, your place is behind a mic singing. That's where you're safe. And so I carried that for a long time. So even stepping into these shoes, I thought I was going to have to start from ground zero. These people aren't going to follow me. I had people even call and say, we need to have a meeting to vote you in. I said, vote me in.
No,
I
you
mean,
you already
what
in.
do?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, vote. When
Yeah.
did we start doing
Right,
that?
right.
And so they didn't know, but it made me feel low. It made me feel so low. And I felt like I didn't equate in the man's world. I felt like this was a man's world and I was not going to make it low. And there are days it makes you question who you are, what you're called to.
Yeah.
Can you really do this? Are you going to fail?
Yeah.
It was a lot of hurtful things,
And you
said
was
that.
probably thinking in your mind, if he was here, none of this would be happening.
Oh, the
to
anger
me.
that built up.
Yeah.
And even still now, the anger that sometimes, the anger, it still builds up because I'm like, I wouldn't have to do all of this if you were here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be having to go to the mall by myself
Right.
if you were here. I wouldn't have to do this if you were here.
Yeah.
You have those moments. And when you start to experience even feeling empty
Right.
and alone, if you were here, I wouldn't have to do this.
We wouldn't have to do it.
Imagine.
It was hard, and you talked about it too, but it was definitely hard for me to take on the role as a pastor. Now, Bishop and I was married 26 years, and 11 months we dated. So you would think that people that have served us and been with us for all these years, they would have been happy for me or to see me go further in ministry. Now there are some that are still with me today. You wouldn't believe how they got upset because I didn't let them come to the hospital when it was his request to not let them see him that way. He had lost over 100 pounds, and those who knew him died. He passed with pancreatic cancer. So in 3 months, I lost my husband, and I'm like you. I thought we would live together for at least another 20, 30 years. But the things they would say, that I kept them from him, or they said that you would never last in this. And as a matter of fact, they left, and when they left, they took money with them. And so it was a struggle at the beginning, even to keep ministry afloat. And I must say, I talked about this in one of my earlier podcasts, that 2 out of every 10 widow is left in poverty. I am fortunate that my husband did good by me. I'm okay. And then I have a village that helped me as well. But they would say things like, you would never make it. She can't preach. I give it a year. And here we are, 5 years later, and I'm still here. Because I didn't, I decided, because everything in life is a choice. I didn't make my moments my monuments. I kept it moving, and in wisdom, and even today, I keep moving, but I allow myself time to grieve. And this is what I want to help you with too, Tiana, is I learned how to put my mask on first. Whenever you're flying, they said, put your mask on first, and then you assist the ones around you. At that time, they didn't even matter, because I knew I had been the best wife. I had been the best wife that I could be. And even today, I'm learning to put my mask on first, and then I assist people that are around me. And I wish I could say it like I really feel it, but I can't. And so, yes, that was the most hurtful thing to hear. She just didn't want us to see him, or he was our bishop. They forgot he was my husband. When I tell you that I really had to get counseling, because I was in a time in the pandemic when Bishop passed away, that I had to be by myself. And then to hear people say things like that to me, it was painful to me, that I didn't care enough for them. It was about me. And then not only that, I'm grieving, and then I had to help my children get through it. I wasn't even just thinking about, I was just trying to get through the next day. So that right there, it was so painful. And then they'll tell you stuff like, we with you. And they were never there, and still never there to this day. So, yeah, it's some more hurtful things, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more, because, yeah. We gotta air this out, because I want people to know that being in this seat is not a glamorous. And even there were times just being married to these mammoth of men that we had to deal with a lot of stuff
behind the scenes.
Behind it. Yeah. And so many days we had to go home and encourage them. We were their great sense of encouragement.
Absolutely.
And now we have to encourage ourselves in the Lord. And we have to, and that's why this Widows podcast is so important, that we are here for each other. And to say, I can identify with where you are. I can't say that I understand all things, but I know with faith we're going to get through this.
Absolutely.
With our conversation we had, you told me that there were days, because statistics says that with widows that really love their mates, when they transition, is not long, because our heart is so broken that it's possible in cases that people have passed along with their husband. Take us back to the moment that you said to me last week that you felt this way.
I definitely, when Kevin transitioned, because we had been tied together so long, you share bonds where
Sure.
even when he went out of town, he would tell people, if I'm going to be gone more than 3 days, you got to bring there's a disconnect and an emptiness that you feel when they're not there.
Sure.
And so this was the first time that I'd ever felt hurt. I couldn't identify it. I just knew my chest was hurting. My heart was hurting. And I kept feeling like any day, yeah, I'm going to drop. So let me just go ahead and put all my stuff in order.
Yeah.
And I never shared that story with anyone until I talked to you. And I literally gave myself 90 days. I put everything in order, because statistics say that, okay, he's gone and we're that connected. I knew I was not going to make it. And so even after that, I told my godson, hey, I need y'all to know where this is. I said, I'm not going to make it through March. I knew I was not going to make it through March. I paid for everything, picked my spot, made sure it was right here beside Kevin, and literally told them, y'all put this to the side. This is where it is. When this happens, y'all know how to get in contact with my mom. I gave myself 90 days. I knew I wasn't going to make it. I didn't have a plan to make it. It wasn't my intent to make it. So being in that place and actually having to experience and feel what heartbreak feels like, because you can feel it.
Sure.
And everybody looked at me like, girl, what are you talking about? And then there were some that looked at me and said, we need to sit and keep an eye on her because, they
Yes.
thought the same.
Yes.
And I thought the same. And when April hit, I was like, oh, I'm still here, but I still prepared because I knew it was going to be within that year.
Right.
Which is the other reason why I did not want to step into a leadership capacity, because I said, they're getting ready to have to do this again. So let me just make sure everything is in place on my end so everybody can move through this smoothly. I was ready.
But even in your readiness, what made you, after April, saying that I'm going to make it through this?
I don't really know. At that point, it was one of the things I got angry about is that we don't get to pause.
No.
I wish I could have hit the pause button and just sat in it for a minute. And life didn't allow me to do that. And life keeps moving. And you notice that you get angry, depressed. You know, I didn't even get to experience the waves of grief one at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you didn't either. It's like when it comes as a wave. It's all at one time.
Right.
And I realized even as I was walking through grief, there were still people that needed me. And so it distracted me.
Yeah.
And it shifted my focus. So it's like while you're trying to grieve, you still have people that are pulling on you to a point to where I asked God, like, God, why are you putting me in a position to heal the very people that hurt me? Why? Is that my purpose? And so as I started to realize that I was by myself and this was just Tiana, I started to kind of, it made me tap into a place to what did I want to leave? The revelation came that my husband died empty. I was like, he put everything
that.
on the table. When you go back and think about it, yes, I may have thought it was way too soon, but he laid everything on the table and I have to leave the same way. And that was kind of the wake up call for me. And so it's like he discovered his purpose. Now I have to discover mine. Unfortunately, I don't have him here as my crutch. And that's what people kept saying. He was your crutch.
Yeah.
He was my crutch.
Yeah.
But also he was my assignment at the same time.
Sure.
So now I have to figure out this journey. That was kind of the light bulb that went off. Like, I want to leave. If I leave, I want to leave empty just like he did.
So where you are today, there are moments, and I know because you're 2 years in, I'm just 5. There are triggers, and then there, we just, holidays and all of that. How do you find yourself navigating, since you are newly widowed? How do you find yourself navigating through these moments, precious moments, daily, literally? It didn't even have to be a holiday. Just I wake up and I feel him. So how do you navigate through that journey of your life?
Holidays really weren't even triggering to me.
Okay.
Because I'll say it this way. I was so rotten that we never technically celebrated specific holidays. He made those all about the kids.
Okay.
And we did things every day. I.e., so when you do things every day, it's like you're not conditioned to just focus on the holiday.
Sure.
And so for me, navigating through daily life, there are days you just want to lay and do nothing. Lay and just cry.
Say nothing, yeah.
Lay, don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want
And that's okay.
just lay. But you can't get stuck
there.
there.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing that I had to pull myself out of because I wanted to just get stuck there. And I could literally feel his energy saying, no, get up. Because even when he was here, if he was sick, if whatever it was like, no, I got to keep moving.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving. And so triggers for me, in the beginning, you couldn't really identify what triggers were.
No.
Triggers just started. I drove by Waffle House one day and just bawled. I ordered Bojangles one day to eat because he used to get that every Saturday morning. I was like, today I got to taste some. That biscuit came and I wailed. So I haven't touched it since. You know, but I'm like, maybe that's a good thing because I don't need to eat it, but I don't know. But at the same time, I noticed that even with other families, because we've had other members transition since then, even standing in that place, watching them walk in is a trigger for me.
Sure.
Because you're looking at all of this emotion, and I didn't know what it was, but you're looking at all of this emotion, and it triggers you. Now, my goddaughter, who we've raised since she was 6 months, she's getting ready to graduate this year. And the closer that we get, I realize it's a trigger.
It is.
And it was I really didn't want to call it a trigger, but that's what it was. She took graduation pictures the other day, and the closer I got to the spot, the more I started to cry. And I'm like, am I crying because I'm happy, or am I crying because I'm crying because she has a desire for him to be here and he's not here?
Sure. So how do you deal with that, literally?
Literally, I have to talk to God every single moment. It's not every single day, every single minute. It's every single moment. And I'm like, Jesus, you got to help me, because if you don't,
I'm going to lose it.
I'm going to lose it.
I'm going to lose it. And so really, how are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm doing okay.
I can tell.
I think I'm doing pretty good. Do I have rough days? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm doing better than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And I think it's more so because I love my husband and I didn't have a bad marriage.
Yeah. And that matters.
It matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
And then he would want you.
That was a hard thing for me to accept.
Yeah.
It's hard. We had a deal. We always had a deal. We would do whatever it takes for the next person to be happy. So we actually had this conversation. If something happens to me, I would expect you to move on, be happy, because I know you can't be by yourself. We had these conversations.
Sure.
Because I know who my husband was. I was like, you won't want me to be with nobody. It's just, you know. And he's like, I'll hunt you in your sleep. And I'm like, no, leave.
Well, come on and hunt us.
But,
right.
but at the same time, I'm like, yes, come
right now.
Come on. Like, but at the same time, I know he would want me to be happy and move forward. And to your question, how do you move forward?
Yeah, how do you do?
Literally, there's no plan on how you move forward. You just have to take a step and see how the day goes.
Yeah.
In moving forward. And you have to, daily I choose joy. I'm on this thing of, I always said, gratitude overshadows or it trumps grief. That's always been my thing. And everything, I'm just grateful.
Me too.
I've learned I had a friend, one day I got really angry and I was really fussing about, he's not here, he's not this.
Yeah.
And you took the love of my life, and God, I didn't see this.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to live forever, and this, and I ain't pray for this, and you didn't show me this. And she said, well, do you thank God for the time that you had with him, or do you want to be in a seat like me where I'm 40 plus and I've never experienced the level of love that you've experienced?
Wow.
And I couldn't do anything but just sit.
Yeah, it changed your perspective. It did. And that's how I get through most of life. And then, as a psalmist, and you sing and direct, the song that comes to mind, one day at a time.
One day
at a time. Sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. I need that, one day at a time. So we talk about faith in the midst of pain. And then we're going to close out. But having faith in the midst of pain, even now, how important is that? At first, we weren't even thinking about faith. We want to know why did it happen to me? But now, sitting in the widow's seat, how does faith really plays a part in where you are today, your faith?
Faith plays a major part. Without it, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
No, in the very beginning, I didn't care anything about faith. because I felt like God betrayed me.
Yeah. And it's okay to feel that.
Yeah, I feel he betrayed me.
Yeah.
Faith, why? I had faith and you did this.
Yeah.
And so now, even in this particular place, faith my faith has changed.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying I have to operate in the gift of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith is what I literally have to rely on to get me to my next, to make sure bills are paid, to make sure I'm keeping my sanity,
Yeah.
to make sure.
Because he was part of security.
Exactly.
So.
And literally that's the word.
Yeah.
Faith is my security. If I don't have anything else, God, I don't know how this is going to be. It's me and you.
Right.
I can't do anything but trust you in this process.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a physical entity to trust anymore. And it kind of made me feel like God was jealous at one point.
Yeah, he is.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And it was like I was relying so much on him and my faith but it was the faith in who you put to watch over me. And so now it's like you've taken that. Now I have to trust and build my faith in you. I have to trust everything about God in this moment. So faith is very, very important. Was it easy to get back to this point? No. He literally stripped me down to a place to where I had to lock in, study. I had to fast. I had to learn those disciplines. So it was like we were building relationship all over again.
Yeah.
And so faith, it is very important, and you have to be real with yourself, and like you said, be okay with saying if your faith is shaking in this moment. But God never left me, and so it is for those reasons that it's easier for me to have faith in God in this moment, because he's all I got.
He's all we got. And I want to thank you, but I want to wrap it up with this, right? With our listeners out there today, newly widows, of course, we know there is a God. What would you leave with the new widows that's sitting in the widow seat? Because, there will be some. I said this earlier to one of my guests. There's 2,800 widows a week in the United States. So what would you leave with new widows, newly widows, a word that would help them to make it in this journey that they're on?
Give yourself grace to process.
Yeah.
Be fair to yourself. Be fair. Be fair to yourself. This is your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Walk this out your way. If the person has never been in your seat, they can't tell you how to feel.
They can't.
We all have suffered loss, but this loss hits different, especially when you love your spouse.
Especially.
Journal. I journal every day, journal every feeling. From a spiritual aspect, it's hard to tell newly widows to pray. And that's just honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to be spiritual in these moments.
Yeah.
But allow yourself a moment to step back, breathe, and just allow God to work on you in this process. So the biggest thing I can tell anyone is to give yourself grace to process and don't feel guilty about the way that you're feeling.
Tiana, where can we find you on social media? And not just that, but what do you have coming up next?
So I can be found Facebook, Tiana Lemons, Instagram, Tiana Lemons. Also, you all can follow Kevin Lemons and _ Higher Calling on Instagram to follow the choir. Kevin Lemons and Higher Calling on Facebook and YouTube. And then what we have coming up, actually the biggest thing we're doing a resurrection concert on Easter.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing that we have coming up. And then I need everybody to get ready because we're actually going to record this year. So November, we are recording this year because next year will be our 30th year. So we're going to do recording this year.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming on
Thank
the
you for
Widow's
having
Seat.
me.
And this is not our last time. I think we got so much more that we can help widows with, newly widows, because we have been in this seat and we're still living it out daily, that we can help so many others. So I want to thank you again, my sweet baby, Tiana Lemons. Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you more.
I'm your host, Vanessa Hall. This is The Widow's Seat.